Les dimanches de calme, il pleut encore sur le, il pleut encore sur le, il pleut encore sur le, l'après-midi. Les dimanches, les dimanches.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chucky J here from Chronicles of Gaming, one half of the M2C Gaming podcast team. Just coming here with my review of Nioh. I actually got an opportunity to pick the game up, get a little playtime in with it. Thank you for all those who joined us for the live stream that we did last night at 8 o'clock. Really appreciate you guys for stopping through. We had a great time, did a lot of chit-chatting. You guys are funny. Went through the game, got probably like about 2 hours in. The game is definitely worth the 9.6 rating that IGN gave it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Metacritic gave it like a 9.5, I want to say, but it is definitely worth it. The game was done by Team Ninja. If you don't know, it is loosely based on William Peel, who was an actual Westerner who traveled to Japan and became like one of the, I believe, first Westerner samurais, if I'm not mistaken. And they kind of loosely based this, so you know it's not as if like it's 100% accurate. Of course, the Japan city that they visited was a fictional place, so it was not the actual place that he visited. I haven't gotten that deep into the game to really understand like his whole reasoning for being there, but just from what we were introduced to from the intro all the way down to when we finally did get over to Japan, we realized that there is some type of stone called Amarita. I hope I'm saying that correct, which is some type of stone that was used by Japan to repel the Spanish Inquisition or the Spanish forces. And for whatever reason, the Queen of England, she wants this particular piece of stone because she knows that with this stone she can be invincible. So she has sent several missionaries to go there to try to capture the stone, all who have failed. Somehow our actual character, he is trapped in London's tower, the Executioner Tower, but he does escape, where he then overhears two individuals who are actually plotting to try to keep the war going, so that way that the stone itself can be used and can be extracted from Japan with purpose. So it's a really good game. A lot of good action sequences took place between the time I left London all the way to when I actually got to Japan. I can tell you that with this game, it is definitely a Dark Souls feel to it. If you guys have played Dark Souls or Demon Souls or even Bloodborne, you'll know that games nowadays are actually going the way of becoming a little bit more difficult. And they have this new style where basically when you die, you have only so much time to get back to the area that you died at to collect any of your belongings or any of your weapons and items that you have accumulated. The difference inside of this one is that the items that you do go back to collect is mostly money and silver. So none of your actual items that you acquire, at least I haven't come across it yet, but no actual weapons or armor or anything like that is left at that spot. So you pretty much still keep your armor, you still keep your weapons, any abilities or anything that you have been granted, those are still with you. The only thing that seems to actually be taken away, or the only thing I should say that seems to be stripped from you when you die, it seems to be just pretty much like any pieces of silver and what they call Amarita Spirit, which is used in order to go to the shrines and upgrade. All that stuff is like taken there and put into like a little area that where you died, it basically is like a grave or some sort. Another great feature of this, which it comes from the Dark Souls, is the ability to pretty much call in remnants, who are people that have played the game. It's online, of course, but basically you'll come across a character who may have died, and what you can do is resurrect them. But unlike Dark Souls and Demon Souls, I believe The characters you resurrect could be certain levels. You could fight against them. If you defeat them, you could take any pieces of equipment and item that they may have. It's kind of like a Russian roulette thing, though, because they may have some, you know, rare type of items that you want, but you can't just pick. So you kind of have to, you know, you kind of just have to fight them and hope that you get something good. So that was pretty interesting. I fought against a couple of high-level guys. I was only like maybe level 2. Fought against a level 6 and a level 7. Pretty intense. Both of them actually kind of came at me really hard because they had some weapons and things that I didn't have, and of course some abilities that they've accumulated. So definitely a struggle. The funny thing is when you die by one of them, you actually do not get that same person. Like, they won't be in that same spot anymore. So if you get killed, sent back to the very beginning, and you try to go back and say, oh, I'm about to get my revenge, they're not going to be there. So you either have somebody different there, or they won't be engraved there at all. The difficulty on this boy is definitely high. I can tell you that right now. I feel like I'm going to probably end up throwing a controller or two, maybe even having a drink after the fact of playing this game, just because the intense amount of characters that you fight against. I mean, it's weird because it's like you can be in an area where there's several characters and you could take out maybe 1 or 2 characters without the other characters even knowing. But if for whatever reason the other characters do get involved, they will come at you full force. And I can tell you right now, it is not fun having to fight off multiple individuals. They make it like a real life situation. Unless you're very powerful and you take a couple of hits from some of them, it will actually, you know, take down a chunk of your energy, and you will die within like 2 or 3 slashes. I fought against a couple of individual samurais that they just took me out within 2 slashes. I was done. So definitely got to build up, you know, my character. They do start you off at the game by allowing you to select certain weapons, which then pretty much just starts the basis of your character. You got the sword that starts you off with a +1 in strength. You have the Kurosama, which is like a blade and a chain that starts you off with dexterity. You have the dual swords, which start you off with agility. And you have, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like a spear or axe, I'm sorry, that starts you off with vitality. And then of course you get to choose like your spirit animal. So far there's only 3. There's an eagle, a shark, and a wolf. Each of them do something different, and that's another good thing too. Basically, when you build up your spirit gauge, you're allowed to call on or summon this animal spirit that can then embed themselves into your sword or your weapon that you have, and then that gives you a little bit more power, new move sets. Of course, it makes you a little bit more invincible and impervious to damage. Problem is that throughout my time playing, I didn't get an opportunity to really, I should say, call up on the spirit, because if you die, you have to repeat the whole process of actually, I say, you know, you have to repeat the process of building up the spirit gauge all over again. In fact, from what I've seen, if you die, your spirit animal is actually right where you died at. And so until you go back and collect your essence or your, you know, where you died and all the stuff that you dropped, you pretty much, you know, you pretty much end up, you know, getting that back along with him or whatever the spirit is. And that was pretty cool. I like that. I thought it was pretty decent. But once again, you don't get him at full power. You pretty much get him like where if you were already full power, you could have called on him. He'll probably be at half, so you can't call on him until you build up a little bit more spirit gauge. All in all, this is a great game. I'm really looking forward into getting into more of it. So the more I will probably do some more streams, get some walkthroughs going on. I've seen a couple of people do some walkthroughs and gotten further up, and some of the stuff that they have fought, I can't wait to fight, but I can already tell it's going to be extremely frustrating. But it's all a part of the gaming. I'm enjoying it. It's one of those things where, just like Ninja Gaiden or even Demon Souls, you continue to keep playing it because it has some type of allure that pulls you. So we'll definitely check it out. I'm glad you guys joined me with the stream yesterday. Like I said, thank you so much. This is Chucky.